concentrates were not included. They were not a part of the discussion. They actually forgot to mention them. Very quickly, the Department of Revenue, as well as other regulatory agencies, realized, like, whoa, this is a pretty big oversight. We need to include concentrates. My company worked closely with the Liquor Board, with the state regulatory agencies to create, if you will, what the current rules that allow my business to exist are under. If I look at it in a different perspective, to allow the Liquor Board to finally decide that yes, we're going to include concentrates, yes, this is how you safely process them, I had to give away all of my IP. If you'd like X-tracted's IP, it's available on the Liquor Board's website, WWOCB, but we literally wrote the rules for how you process. Now my competition gets to follow those rules and open up their processing companies and be my competition. It's not ideal. It's not ideal, but we want to exist in this marketplace, and we deal with the challenges as we do. So we try to discern ourselves as a brand. We try to do better work than other people, and that's all we've got at the end of the day. The IP part, my lawyer bangs his head on the desk every day. It's brutal.
To kind of echo,
do you wonder if somebody's going to come, if Marlboro's going to come out 5 years from now and say you owe me $10 in every gram that you sell because I own this? I mean, there are people who do this for a living in the tech world. They're trolls.
Yep.
Just want to own you. And it, God forbid, it's the United States government, which there seems to be, there's some evidence for, right?
I mean, I'm not even speaking for these guys. I think we're all worried about large corporations who don't understand cannabis coming in and affecting the way it can be a positive plant, for sure.
yeah, for me, my real viewpoint is to stay on the cutting edge of really the processing, the purification of cannabinoids, and really just kind of being at events and talking to the people who use it, because at the end of the day, Big Marlboro could come in, but if they don't recognize that there's a value to something like this guy's product, or the flavor to it, or like the dabs and like all the jokes, terps and the this and the that, like they don't get it. Like the people, there's a disconnect. So I think the two things are staying on top of it with the product design, product packaging, branding, find what you can. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not talking about, in some cases, we're not talking about rocket science, we're talking about cannabis extraction. People have been doing flavors and fragrances and, plant alkaloid extractions, all kinds of stuff for years and years and years and years. It's been the backbone of organic chemistry, was the pursuit of figuring out these natural products, and here we are, 100-something years later, still doing it. I think where we're going to benefit is the brand and just coming up with, obviously the IP is important, get the most out of techniques and brand and patents and stuff, but I think being in the industry is what we all, I think, are constantly saying will get us through, and I think it's going to hold true that ultimately the people who cared will be the one prospering.
Yeah, I think getting patent control is kind of far-fetched. Product that we offer, each one of us here is very unique in their own perspective. Unfortunately, fortunately, in the next 5 years, what I want to do is provide resin separation to the masses, be able to have more dry sift on more shelves, teach more about water hash, or whatever I can to help people make their own clean medicine. It's not really about me and my brand. I could really care less. It's more about guiding people towards the right way, in my opinion. And yeah, unfortunately with I-502, smaller medical growers such as myself are pretty much going to get knocked off, man. My product is a high quality connoisseur product, but it's not a product that can compete against high money and, what 502 and is kind of geared towards. It's not an enterprise type of product. I feel let down by 5052. Unfortunately, they're putting heavy restrictions in every aspect of our plant and our art, from solvent extractions. Now we can only make water hash and other resin separations for personal use. They're cracking down on edibles, weight count, and everything is a felony or a fine. So that's how I feel about it. I'm not very happy with it, and more than likely I'm just going to end up moving from Washington. And that's not what I want to do, but that's kind of what it's going towards.